Alright, so I'm currently trying to platinum over 200 games suggested by viewers of the channel. Now, if I can't do all of these before the channel hits 1.3 million subscribers, then I have to platinum Diablo 2, the longest platinum trophy in existence. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. So for today's video, I chose to platinum Doom 2016, one of the most fun games in the Doom series, and the only modern Doom game I have yet to make a platinum video on. But I went through today and I got every single trophy, including the platinum trophy, obviously, but also the online trophies, which somehow still function perfectly over a decade after the game's release. That was a little scary thing seeing when looking into this game, because as trophy hunters would know, getting online trophies in older games can turn into the bane of one's existence faster than a blonde girl named Emily. Bitch. Now in total, Doom holds only 34 trophies with the platinum, taking me only 10 hours to complete. The trophy guide puts it at 25 hours, which is kind of crazy. I have no clue how it would take that long. Maybe if you played on nightmare difficulty the entire time, I assume. But there is a ton of collectibles in this game, just like all of the Doom games, and that's the only hard part about it. While you play, I also do highly advise grinding out all of the runes trophy and all of the weapon mods upgrades trophy. If you don't do that and you just use the same two guns the entire time, you're gonna have a troublesome evening. But without further ado, let us begin. So, stage 1 is to simply complete the campaign and get every trophy. However, as you can probably guess, I did not do that. Instead, I chose to nail out the online stage first, which is technically stage 3 on the trophy guide. I did this both to just get them out of the way, but also to see if I even could. Spoiler, I did, and you can. All in under an hour as well. In total, there was only 5 trophies inside of the multiplayer, 3 of which relate entirely to the snap map part of the online, which is like player and developer created custom games. It's very cool. And the other 2 are related to the actual multiplayer. I started off just doing 2 of the snap map trophies, being shareware and no rest for the living. Shareware is from creating and publishing a snap map map. Now this might sound scary because I for one had no clue what in the hell a snap map was, let alone how you make one, but you can basically just navigate over to the area, throw together the most basic thing ever, and then just name it and publish it. It's extremely easy. I did it in less time than it takes me to finish a poop. So yeah, here's that trophy pop. Now after that, I went for the no rest for the living trophy. And this one did take quite a bit longer, but it's from playing 5 published snap maps. And when they say play, they mean you must finish them. I learned that the hard way after just joining 5 different ones and then leaving after a few minutes with nothing to show for my efforts. But I did find that if you just look up trophy in the snap map search, you can find a plethora of maps that were made especially for this trophy. And after joining them, all you have to do is either just walk forward and interact with an object to finish the level, or just, kill one enemy, for example, for the round to finish. I then did that 5 times with the trophy pop, easy peasy. Now the last trophy in the snap map portion I did not do right now because it is the most boring trophy of the game, and I'm not joking. No, so instead I just went and I tried out the multiplayer. I selected team play because I figured that would be the best mode to both get players in, but also to get a win in, because that is a trophy we're aiming to get called IPX Setup.exe. Shout out to the .exe videos, by the way. Real ones remember how this channel began. Anyways, I ended up finding a lobby right away. It only had a few people in it, but hey, that works for me. This mode was called Soul Harvest, and it's essentially a team deathmatch, but one player at a time gets like a demon upgrade and becomes one of the demons from the campaign. Obviously, they are far stronger like that than if they were just a measly Doom guy running around. The goal is to just kill more enemy players than they do. It was actually pretty fun. This game's combat is a lot like Halo in a sense, and I personally cannot wait for that to drop on PS5 here next month. Prayers in the chat that they give us multiple platinums on that game as well. But back at it in this match, I'm not sure if it's just because I was on the team, but we ended up bending over those enemies and making them scream out help from the UAC. However, none would come, and we did get the trophy from winning that match right here. Now, the only other trophy in this multiplayer is from reaching level 5. It's very simple. I would also end up getting it in the next match nearing the end from just playing it naturally. I love when story games that have online modes don't torture us with the online play. Shout out to ID Software for real. So anyways, and then jump back to these snap map trophies, and the only one I needed now is called Entryway from completing all of the basic and advanced tutorials. This is the most boring trophy of the game. It's not hard by any means, but it did take me longer to do this trophy than the last 4 combined. So if that doesn't say enough as to how much boredom was created from this, I don't know what else can. But here is the trophy after I did all the tutorials, and let's move on to the more exciting things in this game. So welcome to the official story stage of the trophies, being stage 2 in my playthrough. This stage features very heavily just collectible trophies. There is one difficulty trophy, however, but it's just from beating the final mission on the hardest difficulty, which we can't even do yet because you must first finish the main story. So all in all, this playthrough is very simple. I followed the Power Picks collectible guide, which was very well done. Power Picks, I will pass you in subs soon, so watch your back, bro. Anyways, the first trophy of this game's campaign just comes from completing the first mission called E1M1. The first mission sets up the game's story. Essentially, there is a demonic outbreak on Mars, and Doom Guy is sent out to stop it. Pretty much the plot for every single Doom game. This one is also far shorter and simpler than Eternal and Dark Ages. It's kind of an origin story, for example. There also is like an intermission level before the official first level does begin, but you basically just run around and get suited up for a journey while some other characters explain to us what is happening. The main villain of the game is a girl named Olivia Pierce, who used to work for the UAC, but then sold her soul to the devil, quite literally. And she basically just started this invasion of hell by opening up a gate, and yeah, it's all very simple. Just kill demons, stop them from getting out of hell, and prevent them from getting to Earth, which is their ultimate goal. Nothing really awesome of note happened in the first level. The entire goal of it itself was just to reach this transport or airlock at the end. I sort of do love these older story games that didn't just throw us the best mission first and let it build throughout. Like nowadays, most story games have that opening mission that is just insane, and sometimes it's even the best of the game, which is just debatable upon whether we should do that or not. Anyways, here's that story trophy after finishing it. So moving on, in the next level, we are now in the facility we just got to from the first level, and the goal was simply to get the power back on. While doing so, tons and tons of demon hunting begins, and this is the first mission of the game, which holds challenges. These need to be completed on every single level. None are too challenging. You can also farm them without checkpoint resetting. I also would get a trophy from those on this level called Thorough Shopper from completing all challenges on a single mission. Before getting that trophy, we also did unlock the chainsaw, which is one of the most iconic weapons in Doom. Rip and tear in a nutshell. Anyways, I would then get the all challenge trophy after I did drop down into my third secret room, which was the final challenge of 3 I had on this level. So once doing that, the trophy then popped right away. Now in regards to the story, this level just had more basic combat. I promise the story does get crazier later on, but we also did get our first Argent Cell upgrade, which boosts either health, armor, or ammo. There's trophies related to these as well, by the way, later on. After a few more combat sections, we then reached a little cutscene break, and it showed us Olivia Pierce herself opening up the very portal to hell that will cause chaos for us and the world. Also, I hate to say it, but this bitch looks damn near identical to Caroline from Wolfenstein 2. Bethesda, are we reusing assets here? Come on, man. I know that Elder Scrolls 6 is hard to make, but still. Anyways, that was in the end of the level, and shout out to this lad who DM'd me offering help on the online trophies for this game. I did not need it at this point, but still, thank you very much, brother. Anyways, in the final level, the first goal was to just disable these filter things. But right away at the start of the level, you can do the first of many rune trial challenges. These are a type of collectible that must be completed to unlock the runes of this game, which are like passive upgrades on your character. None of the challenges are inherently that hard, but after completing the first one, I did get my first rune in the trophy called A Gift from Beyond from earning a rune. This rune challenge is also the easiest of the game, literally just requiring us to eliminate enemies. So after all was said and done, here's that trophy pop. There was then multiple combat sections. We also ended up fighting some big boy enemies for the first time, and I ended up making it to one of the 3 filters we had to destroy for the story. Funny thing about these is when you do break them, Samuel Hayden, who was like the guy that is in charge of the UAC from my understanding, and is now trying to help us save the world from his creation, he just loses his mind when we do break them because they are very advanced and not easy to make again. I don't know, it was pretty funny. Anyways, moving on, you then go break the rest of those. I also got the rocket launcher at some point, which is by far my favorite gun in the game. The thing reminds me of prime Fortnite rocket launcher abusing of children. Rest in peace, 2019. Again, there was then just endless fighting. If you love high action story games, I suggest any Doom game. It's like 90% combat and 10% story. But I did finally reach the last Argent filter, and after destroying it, we essentially got rid of that energy source completely. This also did shut down the Argent Tower, or at least, minimize it, which is how the demons have been getting into our world. And then the mission did end off. Now, the following one opened up with our goal being to kill Miss Olivia herself. Now, I've only known a few Olivias in my time, and honestly, none were that bad. As the saying goes, if her name starts with E, run away before you can no longer pee, if you catch my drift. But to reach Olivia, we had to go through legions of enemies. I also did find another Argent Cell upgrade, and it turns out this was my 4th, and since I was putting them all into ammo, I got the Argent Overload trophy from fully upgrading all health, armor, or ammo. So here's that trophy pop. Now, in order to reach Olivia, you also have to do a lot of parkour over this absolutely horrid bridge. Now, I personally hate the Doom movement mechanics. They are just so minimal and chunky. Yes, I did fall to my death numerous numerous times, and yes, that is why I now do hate the Doom Guy movement.
Skill issue.
But after making it past that bridge and then enter a giant tower, which has a very complex way to get up it. And while doing that, I also found another collectible, which got me enough tokens from finding it to fully upgrade a suit category for yet again another trophy. I chose to do the dexterity upgrade line first because, I mean, who doesn't love to be more, Dexter? I don't, is that the term? I don't know. I can't speak English. But once I did make it to the interior of this giant tower, we also encounter a sort of mini boss being the giant enemy named the Mancubus. Now this thing is basically just a fat and thanks to my rocket launcher, fighting it essentially just felt like shooting Lizzo with GLP one-shots until she burst into the beautiful woman she could be. After that, there was then a massive combat section here and also a quad damage power-up, which I obviously yoinked up and then jerked out over all the enemies I could, resulting in me getting over 150 kills with power-ups for the trophy called Juicing It Up. This also is a passive trophy, and no, I did not get all 150 kills right here. That would just be silly. But then we did begin the ascent of the tower, and it was kind of a little puzzle because there was not a direct route up, and some routes don't even go high enough to even make it up. So I spent a while grinding the gears of my brain, which resembles a hamster wheel with how smart I am. But finally, I did reach the top, or at least the next area nearing the very top, and again, a big old combat section occurred in which I would get another trophy, being called Specialist and from earning the first mastery on a weapon mod. These need to be done on every single gun, so you should definitely farm them out as you play to prevent hours of extra grinding, but most are just simple kill challenges with these special powers on each gun. I did my first one with the shotgun's little grenade shot, you know, the classic gun of Doom Guy, and here's that trophy pop. I then made the final scale of the tower. Yes, I fell to my death again. I am goated at parkour, as my Super Meat Boy video proved. But then I finally reached the door and I spread its cheeks, entering the final area of the level. And spoiler, Olivia was not up here, but every demon and his cousin named Lenny was. And we basically just fought it out until a dimensional event occurred, as the PA was saying, and it all faded to white with the level ending with a bang. We also got a sword trophy after, which was cool from warping to hell. We're probably gonna see Wemby down here after last night's NBA Finals performance. Holy, shout out to New York W's. Anyways, our goal now is to get back to Mars, which is where we just were. So everything we have done so far has essentially been for nothing because we are now stuck inside hell. Anyways, this entire mission quite literally just had us fighting for our life. Pretty fitting considering we are inside of hell, but yeah, that's all that happened. It ended off with us just reaching the teleporter control, and then the mission was completed with no trophies, sadly. Anyways, next level we then teleported back to Mars, and since we have been gone, the demons have furthermore flooded here, and it is just complete chaos. Our goal as well on this level returned to us just killing Olivia Pierce. She is sort of their like leader or gateway here, which is why we are so set on just ridding her of life. But I also would get a few trophies on this level. First, called the Butcher from performing 200 glory kills. Glory kills are not related to those, you know, rated X videos, but rather when you do enough damage on an enemy and it gets stunned and begins to glow. Simply execute them and yeah, do that 200 times the trophy pops. A little bit later after that, I also reached the final new common enemy type of the game. And I also again did get a glory kill on it, which got me the Rip and Tear trophy from glory killing all common enemy types. You could say it was glorious when the trophy popped. After that, I then did countless combat encounters until making it inside for once and getting my first trophy related to upgrading ruins, being called Momentum Shift from, you know, upgrading a ruin. You upgrade those the same way you upgrade weapon mods, by the way, you know, just doing challenges related to them. The ruins are also quite a bit harder than the weapon mods, but nothing worthy of cock and ball torture. So once doing my first, the trophy popped right away. Now to finish off this level, we did not find Olivia, but rather we ended up being led into the Lazarus Research Facility, because we just need to go there, I guess. So yeah, the mission then ends off without any more trophies. Now at the start of the next mission, once in the facility, our goal was to meet up with Samuel Hayden, the guy who has been helping us throughout the game so far. And once you do make it to him after a few tiny combat encounters, he's just a robot. No, this isn't actually him, it's just a remote device, but hey, it's still pretty neat. Anyways, the coolness of the robot did die off once he gave us like a 5-minute long monologue in which I just kind of sat there and I listened ever so blissfully to. At least his voice sounds cool, I guess, but he ended off his spiel just directing us to the weapons division of the facility to find the big boy gun to take out Olivia with. And this also would lead into my next trophy called An Old Friend from finding the gun he wants us to, being the famous BFG. If you don't know what the BFG is, it's the strongest weapon in Doom, and it just one-shots every single enemy it comes in contact with, aside from, you know, actual boss fights, that is. Now once reaching it, you also have to do a sort of puzzle to get the gun, because the gun is locked away and a laser security system is in place. Now I died to it a few times times, and I had zero clue how you do turn it off. At first, I just assumed you sit and wait for it to stop scanning for threats, but after sitting and watching it rise up and down and up and down like 10 times, I figured, you know, maybe I'm supposed to do something.
Retard alert!
Long story short, you just have to shoot the glowing red supports around the ring, and after shooting it 5 times, it breaks. The BFG opens up, and we then got the gun and the trophy pop. The level then ends off with a combat section having us try out the BFG. It's amazing, as we know. I came in my pants. And then it ends with us going down in an elevator, and I also did accidentally throw a grenade, so rest in peace, Doom Guy. Our goal now is to just shut down the teleporter to stop more demons from getting into our world. Now, this level also did last a very, very long time, and honestly, not much happened in terms of trophies themselves. I did end up reaching the final ruin trial, however, and it was also the hardest, conveniently enough. You had to eliminate just 9 enemies with the gauze cannon, but what makes it so hard is that we are also stuck on 1 HP the entire time, meaning even a graze of damage will end us. Also, the gauze cannon is a pretty bad and hard gun to use, and it only does high damage if you sit still and charge it up, so, you know, the worst combo basically. I did it after, I think, 4 tries, so again, you know, still not insanely hard, but yeah, that did give me the final ruin, and I got a trophy from earning all of the ruins as well afterwards. Now, to end off this level, which held just endless fighting, we had our first real boss fight. It was against this giant enemy who was named the Cyber Demon, and this fight was pretty rough. It had 2 stages like most bosses do, and the second one I nearly died in, which is kind of crazy considering I'm playing on the baby difficulty since I'm a little bitch. So I can't even imagine what this boss fight is like on the hardest, actual ball torture. Anyways, after performing the glory kill finisher, we won. I got a trophy from beating it, and then the level does end off finally. At this point, we are also nearing the end of the game, by the way, and the next few levels were largely just combat like always. It was extremely fun, and the entire following mission, I got no trophies, just a lot of bodies, I guess. Feeling like an ASU freshman the way I racked up demon bodies in such a short time. But the level afterwards, I did get numerous trophies. I think in total I got 4 of them throughout the level. The first 2 were very simple, being from just getting the final Argent upgrade, maxing out my health, armor, and ammo, and the next was called Up Close and Personal from just killing 50 enemies using the chainsaw. Probably the most fun combat trophy in the game. I love that thing. It's so satisfying. I then went a while without any trophies, but the next one ended up being called Hot Swapper from acquiring all of the weapon mods in the game, which are gotten from field drones hidden throughout the levels. So here's that trophy pop. And then the final trophy I got on this level was called Outnumbered No Problem, from again another boss fight, this time being against the Hell Guards. And this actually wasn't really a challenge. I would argue the previous boss fight was far stronger and also kind of, you know, the hardest boss in the game. These ones are very easy to kill, primarily because they get stunned very easy and they don't really do that much damage to begin with. So after the threesome ended, I won the fight and the trophy popped with the level finishing off once again. So I then did begin the second to last level, which was called I Am Vega, and the entire level had us running around trying to shut down and divert power from Vega's core. Vega, by the way, is like this super intelligent AI that has been assisting both us and the UAC for years. It was almost sad because bro was kind of a homie, but yeah, all in all, you just kind of shut him down, and we are doing that so we can gather his power to try and teleport ourselves back into hell to fight Olivia because she is now there as a final showdown. I did get 1 trophy during this level at the very end though, simply from finding all the data logs. So yeah, here's that, and the level's completed. So we are now in the final level of the game. Long story short, this level just had loads of combat leading up to the final boss fight, but I also did get a shitload of trophies. And this was mostly due to me farming out a lot of them since I found a great farming location right at the start. And that location, as I just said, is right at the start of the level. There is this descending path with about 15-ish basic enemies walking around. And these are the best enemy to farm weapon mod kills, rune kills, pretty much anything on, which is what I did right here. And I farmed for like an hour straight, ending up getting almost all of my runes and weapon mods done that I had. But I also realized during this that I had enough suit points to fully upgrade my suit for the overclock trophy pop. I could have done this before, but you know what? I got it right here. I also farmed out explosive barrel kills because I needed 100 of those for a trophy. Now I had no clue how close or far away I was from this, but I could get pretty much a 10 piece every single time, so farming it was very fast, and the trophy popped without issue very quickly. Now speaking of those runes, I did end up upgrading them all during the level later on when finding a good farming spot for max armor, which was my last rune challenge. After doing it, I think 12 times to get the trophy pop, and here it is. 2 minutes later, I also farmed out the final weapon mod, and I got the trophy as well. Now to finish off the game, you boss fight Olivia, obviously, but she transforms into the Spider Mastermind, a very humble name. The fight itself also wasn't overly challenging. It did have a few spots we had to do some parkour to dodge attacks, but overall it was a very linear fight. There also wasn't any stages to it, just a simple 1 health bar fight, and after winning, we then quite literally blew the brains off the thing, and I got 3 trophies. First from getting every collectible in the game, because the final one does come from this fight, then from just simply beating the game, and finally from defeating the Spider Mastermind. The story then ends off with some cutscenes and a very ominous ending. Mr. Hayden here essentially says, good job, we stopped them. However, he can't allow his work to go to the grave, and he kind of just says that he's going to continue doing stuff with the demons, and then he just kind of sends us away. Bro, Loki is the villain of this story. Anyways, that is the story finished off with. I did have to go get one more trophy, however, before the next stage of the game begins, and it was just from cleaning up a few mission challenges. I was only missing like 5 total across all of the missions. Overall, they were extremely easy, and yeah, I got a trophy only about 14 minutes later of gameplay, so here's the trophy bot. But that is the story stage finished with now. So welcome to the final stage of the game, being from completing the first level on Ultra Nightmare difficulty. This is my last trophy before the Platinum, and what makes it so hard is that Ultra Nightmare is a ruthless difficulty. You can die in like 4 hits from almost any enemy, and if you do die, you have to completely restart. Yes, this is a permadeath mode, however, thankfully the trophy just has us needing to beat the first level. And to make this even easier, you can do a little glitch during it by just parkouring up the side of the map to then reach a little skip part through the middle of it in order to reach the ending, because if you remember, the first level's entire goal just had us fighting through enemies to reach the exit. I did mess up the glitch a few times, and it does take some practice to get, but all in all, it is very, very easy. Once I finally did nail it, the trophy then popped, and so did the Platinum trophy on Doom. So that was the Doom Platinum trophy experience. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video. I know a few people have been asking for me to do this game for a while now, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Doom is a classic game series. I love them all. Probably one of the best, just, you know, pure action story games you can play, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, boys.